going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bridging the Geekdoms. I am your host, Robert Slavinsky. Colton Bird is not with me today. That's all right. Getting back into the swing of things at work and such, so he unfortunately couldn't be with me on this episode. However, this episode is a special episode because I got to sit down and have a discussion with a pretty awesome guest. Now, if you noticed last week, we didn't have an episode. And that's because we decided to honor the blackout of last week for everything that's going on in the country and the world. Us, as well as other shows within the Spoilerverse, decided to do that. This week, though, we're getting back to everything. We're getting back to what Bridging the Geekdoms is, and that is discussing with creators, with people who are in all facets of geekdoms, but bridging multiple things together. And our guest today, Victor Koo, Mr. Mighty Pegasus himself, is the embodiment of that. He's an amazing artist who bridges the geekdoms by drawing anime and comic and Pokemon. I mean, there's so much that he does. And the crazy thing about it is he bridges everything together. Like, I bought this piece of art, I got a piece of art from him, and it's Pikachu dressed as Deadpool. Again, Bridging Geekdoms kind of fits everything, but it's really awesome. And I posted the pictures of the couple things I got from him on our social media, so please check out our social media on Facebook and Twitter. You should find the pictures there. His art is fantastic, but what I really recommend is you jump over to his store and check out his stuff and maybe support him a little bit, because his art is really, really amazing. Now, with that, this episode is pretty fantastic because I sat down, we talked, we discussed his love for art, how he got into art, how he got to where he is today, but he was also the winner of the Zack Snyder Justice League poster contest. And we discussed that. We got all into how he created the poster that eventually won and got him a pretty awesome prize that you'll hear about in the interview here. So, sit back, enjoy the show, and I will see you all on the other side. What's going on, everyone? Robert Slavinsky back here once again, and I am talking with Victor Koo of Mighty Pegasus Art. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing great. Thank you for having me. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I mean, with the exception of this current isolation pandemic thing going on, I've been doing pretty good, focusing on podcasting and really getting out there and talking to people, creators and artists such as yourself. And as I like to say, I mean, our show is called Bridging the Geekdoms. I like to say I'm bridging geekdoms. I'm bringing people together. We're talking about and talking to people that have the love of a couple different types of geekdoms, and they bridge it together, such as yourself, where you draw, you're an artist, and you love pop culture.
Yes.
Looking at what you've done, whether it's with Marvel or Dragon Ball or DC or anything, there's so much there that you kind of combined two loves together, hence Bridging the Geekdoms, and you bring it all into one. So that's why I love talking to people. I love getting to know people and how they've gotten to that point in their life. So tell me, Victor, just a little bit about yourself. Like, there's a lot that that I can cover here, but I want to get to know. I want to get to know who you are first before we get into that. I want people to know who you are, because I'm going to be honest. I did not know anything about you until about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So,
no problem.
But seeing what you've done, going to your store to see your artwork and everything like that. It's incredible. It is incredible work, and I want people to find it. I want people to see it. So tell us about yourself. Tell us who you are, where you came from, and how you got to be so artistically. What I'm saying.
Yeah, thank you. Well, like you said, my name is Victor Koo. I was born and raised in France, in a little suburb called Corbeil, and I lived there for 15 years, and at the age of 15, I moved to Florida, in Tampa, Florida, and lived there with my family. And I've been drawing for a long time, like ever since I was a kid, But when I moved to Florida, I kind of stopped. I started high school, and I kind of let go of that passion for a little while. Then I joined the U.S. Navy, and I served for 6 years. And I got out in 2016. And once I got out, I really felt like there was a part of my life that I was missing. In the sense that I wanted to do something that makes me happy. Like I wanted to get back into my old passion. So I decided to get back into drawing, and I also got back in touch with some old friends of mine that was doing comic convention and anime convention, and he was drawing and having fun. He would always post picture on his Facebook, and I was very motivated by what he was doing. So I got back in touch with him, and he kind of gave me some advice, and I started from there. But I think it didn't really get started seriously until 2017, which September 2017, where during that month they had a poster competition for the release of the theatrical Justice League movie, and the winning prize was going to be a premiere ticket to go to LA for the premiere showing. And so that's when I really started taking my art seriously, because I really wanted to win that contest, but I didn't. But it was fun, and it was a good way for me to prove to myself that if I were to start this journey as an artist, I have to prove to myself that I can take the pressure, I can take the the contest, the intimidation, the fear of exposing my art, and things like that. So it was a good way for me to break that ice. And ever since then, I started attending convention. I made a lot of artist friends who kept pushing me forward, and I'm also since I was also a big fan of Zack Snyder, I wanted to do something with my art to represent, that passion that I have for Zack Snyder, along with all these other comics like Venom and Superman and anime like Dragon Ball Z or My Hero Academia. I just wanted to draw what I had in mind, the vision I had in mind. And so yeah, and right now I am an artist as part-time only because of the whole quarantine situation. I'm hoping to get back full-time as an artist, doing convention, traveling in the States, to showcase my art and meet fans and people very soon, hopefully. And but other than that, I live in St. Paul, Minnesota. I work as a French interpreter, so I go to the clinic and the hospital to assist patients who speak French, and I have a problem communicating. So I think that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. It's interesting to see how you kind of fell away from your artistic abilities, and then it was something that pulled you back in, like a contest, and it. I'm sitting here, and I'm not going to lie. I listened to your interview that you did over on Lightcast. I guess it was about a week or two ago, and just hearing your passion and the way that you talk about your art, and not just that, but how you got to the the Snyder Cut poster contest, or whatever it is. Yeah, contest. There we go. It seems like, and I can say the same thing, because I mean, your artistic ability is very, I mean, you're on paper and pen and colors and stuff like that, where I kind of look at podcasting as kind of an art as well. I found myself where I kind of fallen out of it a little bit. There was about a year where I kind of fell back. Some things happened in my life, and I just I didn't feel it anymore. and then there's that one thing that'll pull you back in. And it's really interesting to see that it happens with everybody when it comes to any kind of art.
Yeah, I agree, and I think people have to hold on to that. I think people are not reminded enough that of this kind of things. Like you have to hold on to your passion, to the thing you like, because it makes you happy. And that's another reason why I started my journey. I want to inspire other artists, young artists who feel stuck right now where they at, and feel like they cannot do this as a living, or they feel like they cannot make any income with their art, or their skills, whether it's podcast, art, or anything, So yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. And I kind of want to touch on your art. I mean, I'm looking at it here. I have it pulled up. I'm looking at it right now. And what got you to drawing certain this type of stuff? I mean, have you done, because a lot of this is, like I said before, it's DC, Marvel oriented. There's Dragon Ball. I see video game stuff. There's Princess Zelda. There's Link. There's Mewtwo. There's so much on there. What was it that drew you towards that kind of art as opposed to doing other things that are kind of outside of pop culture, or even realistic type of stuff?
Good question. So the reason I started doing drawing this kind of character first is it's because I met an artist who really motivated me. I follow his YouTube and watch his video all the time, and I messaged him one time, and he told me that it's starting that way is a good way to reinforce your I'm losing my word, your confidence, because it's a good way to do the things that you like, drawing the characters and the people that you like, while trying to get better, with your craft. And so that's why I started drawing the things I like, and the vision I had of them, and come up with something that people haven't seen yet, like the Mewtwo that you're probably looking at. It's mashed up with two different worlds, right? So Bison from Street Fighter and Mewtwo from Pokemon, right? So I wanted to do things like that, create things that people haven't seen yet. And so I follow his advice, and it really did work. It helped me get more confident, have more, not being so shy in front of people when I draw. It helped me being able to, as far as business side, being have more customer service, skills, as well. So, I wanted to do fan art. That's what it's called. I wanted to do fan art first, but I always wanted to create my own comic book or work for like a big company like Marvel comic or DC, comics. And, but I learned that it's very hard to try to go for that right away. So why not just go, as a freelance artist and do fan art, create art that people want to request from you, So that's the reason why I went into that kind of style, that kind of art field first,
Yeah, first off, I mean, I'm looking through it here, and I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, and I just love the Dragon Ball art that you have on here. I do want to point out something. Something I love about your art here, and anybody that's listening, I will have a link to Victor's store in the description down below, or in the description for the podcast. So I want you guys to click on it, because the color, it pops. Like I absolutely love the coloring that you do, because it's so bright, colorful. But I've seen art, and I've seen people do things where they make it so colorful, but it just seems too busy, or it's just too much. But with yours, it's perfect. Like I really love the coloring that you do on your stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Not a lot of people notice that. I think they notice it from the eye, but they don't know what exactly is attracting. And the way I do my art is I like flashy things, but not too flashy that it's so busy, like you said. So I always have, when I draw something, I always have a point of focus, so that people know where to look at, whether it's just a light in the back or just a character's pose. It has to be prominent enough for people to notice that, hey, that's the point of focus. I know exactly what it is from far away, because the reason I wanted to do that is because when I go to convention, there's so many artists, there's so many displays, and I wanted people to be able to catch my art from a distance and know right there from that distance, hey, that's a Dragon Ball Z right there, that's a Pokemon right there. So that's why I play with the color in that sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's perfect. I love it. I mean, I've been looking at this stuff for the past few weeks. I've been trying to decide, all right, what do I want to buy? Like, what do I want to get to help support this guy? And I haven't made a decision yet, but there's enough there to pick from.
Right.
For sure. Now, what out of your collection would you say at this point in time is maybe your favorite? I mean, I'm sure you love them all, but there's got to be one that you sit there and you're like, that took me the longest, or that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into that. That is the one that I love the most. Is there a piece of art here that's like that?
There is. It's not posted on my online store, but I posted it I think a couple of weeks ago after I won a couple of months ago when I won the contest. I don't know if you saw or if you noticed, but if you look back, or if you can just look at my Vero account, it's the very first post I have, and it's the piece of art that I did for the first contest in 2017. And that one is very important to me because it shows when I started. It shows how much I grew from that first piece. It was very different. It was not very well drawn, but I put so much into it, and it's always been my favorite because I always look back at it and I think to myself, I've come a long way and I've really improved. I'm very happy of for what I've come to so far, and how much improvement I've made, and that would be my favorite part. And it's basically a piece of the Justice League, and I drew it in two different versions. I drew it all in pencil, and then I colored it on digital also. And so if you get a chance to take a look, check out my Vero account, and also my Instagram. It's all the way at the bottom. My very first post ever. You'll see the piece of art I'm talking about.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, I'm trying to swipe through Vero here to find it, but I'm not seeing it. But I will find it, definitely. Yeah. Now, I hear you talk, and you've talked quite a bit about DC Universe, and there's a good bit on your store that's DC oriented, and Justice League especially. You mentioned Snyder. How big of a fan are you of Zack Snyder's work? I mean, there's been a movement going on now for the better part of 3 years for Release the Snyder Cut. There's some news that's been popping up actually this week as we speak about that possibly happening. And, before we get into all of that, of the possibilities, what was your take on Snyder and what he did with Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman? And is that what kind of drew you to doing so much artwork with the Justice League in DC?
Right. So the first thing that attracted me to Zack Snyder's work is actually Dawn of the Dead. It's the first movie I've seen way back when I was still in high school and in Florida. And I remember watching it in theater and then renting it later on at Blockbuster because I didn't know that there was a director's cut of it, And so I rented it and I watched it and I was like, wow, it's even better again, And there's something about the way he created his movie, how they always talk about like each movie has a color palette. I distinctly remember his color palette that he used for that Dawn of the Dead, and it wasn't like a dark tone, but it was like I don't know, it was just something about it that was very, very catchy to me, and I really enjoyed. And I know the movie was just awesome too, And so that's the first time, I really got into Zack Snyder's work. And of course, later on, it was 300 after that. And 300 was just amazing because I remember my friend and I always joking about, after seeing the movie, we would always do the "This is Sparta" thing, we'll play and. And I remember playing Halo with my friend online, and we always, every time we'll kill each other, we do like, "This is Sparta," because we love the movie so much. And then after that, of course, Watchmen and so on. So I've always been a big fan of Zack Snyder. I haven't had any bad experience with any of his movie. I've always enjoyed all of them. So that's how I got started with Zack Snyder. Yeah.
All right. I'm pretty much the same. I mean, I remember seeing Dawn of the Dead in theaters when it came out. At the time, I had no idea who Zack Snyder was. I didn't know who Zack Snyder, who the director was even. And the crazy thing about that is I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where I live. I grew up and everything. Now, Dawn of the Dead is kind of special to us here in Pittsburgh because George A. Romero, who created the original Dawn of the Dead, filmed it in the Pittsburgh area. So when I went and saw that movie, I was just blown away because I'm not going to sit here and say it was better than the original because the original holds a special place in everybody's heart here, but it was a fantastic movie. Right. And when 300 then came out, I was kind of like, holy crap, that's the guy that did Dawn of the Dead? Like, that's a huge jump. It's very different. While they're both amazing films, they're both style-wise, they're very, very different. And it was with 300 that I started to see the kind of filmmaker that Zack Snyder was. So moving forward, I was like, okay, this guy, he has a very different take and look when it comes to film. And that's kind of what really pulled me into everything. And as we got to even Sucker Punch or Man of Steel and all that stuff, you could definitely see that he was not expanding but kind of flexing his ability more and more as he moved forward. And I think Batman vs Superman, for as much negativity that surrounds that movie and for how much hate that people have for that film, I think, at least at this point, because we have yet to see Army of the Dead or Zack Snyder's Justice League, I think at this point that is his best looking film, cinematography wise and artistically, it is his best looking film. Right. Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I agree.
Yeah. Now, with all that, so what let's kind of focus a little bit here on Snyder and the contest that came up. I want to say, how many months ago was that contest started?
I believe it was announced early or almost mid-February.
Okay. And
then I think by the end of February or early March, that's when they announced the winner.
So months ago, back in November, we'll start there. There was a huge movement on social media for Release the Snyder Cut. It appears and it seems, after talking to certain people and different people who are in the know, it seems like it was then that things really started moving for Zack Snyder to be able to put out his vision, his version of Justice League. Right. There was a rebranding of the film to Zack Snyder's Justice League. And then he's, for the past few years, he's been posting cryptic things on Vero, different, different sayings and pictures and everything like that. But to me, where I sat there and said, this movie is happening, is this contest. This contest that came up was something that it wasn't all Zack's idea. I believe it was TPZ, who was a big proponent and pushing and having this, making this happen. If people listening, if you don't know what TPZ is, it's Team Prozac. They're a social media force essentially for helping get Zack Snyder's Justice League out there. They're a huge fan of Zack Snyder. But it seems like they were kind of a big part of getting this contest started and moving forward. Right. That to me seemed like that was when it was, okay, this movie's happening. They're having a contest for essentially a poster for a movie that isn't supposed to be coming out, but I think it is coming out. Right. Not only that, but the prize, what he posted on his Vero for the prize. So what was it that pulled you to doing that contest and getting involved with that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's funny because I started my art way before they even announced the contest and way before the event in November too. I started drawing my art in July 2019. actually maybe June, I think, or late June, early July. I wanted to have it done for the anniversary of the Justice League movie, in hope that there was going to be an announcement. But I didn't finish it on time, so I have been working on that project for a few months. Here and there. I was also very busy with work and my convention schedules, so I was having a really hard time. So so I like, again, like I said, I started way before anything was announced. I just did it because I had the passion for Zack Snyder's movie, and I really wanted to see his vision. And like I've said many times before, I've done this piece of work just to show that it's very important, how important it is to let an artist, a director, finish his vision, because it's so important to see the final product that's respectfully represent what an artist wanted to do, not something that's like puzzled out, or only a piece of that vision is there and the rest is not. I can relate to that in the sense as an artist, so that's why I started this project, in the very first place, and it just so happened that everything kind of happened, in magical way, and when they announced the poster contest, I had just finished my project 2 days before that, so it was like destiny to me, and it was like, wow, I gotta submit it, and it's like you say, why would they announce a poster contest for a movie that's supposedly not supposed to come out, right? Or never existed, right? So, I just had to take that chance, and I just submitted it right away, and that's basically how it happened, So I've been following all the news since I started the project, and I've been very excited, and I just didn't expect anything like that to happen, until the poster contest was announced. So it was great. It was magical.
Yeah, definitely. And your poster, your art that won is just absolutely amazing. It is an amazing piece of art. And I sit here and I look at it, and the detail is just it's incredible. Like I don't know how else to explain it. I mean, you have it looks like every main character or significant character from the DCEU in this picture, and I mean that had to take you forever. Like the detail that you had to do to get all that in there, and it's not like these characters, this art, like what you drew, they look like the actors and actresses who you drew. I mean, it's really, really good. Like I'm not surprised it won. Not surprised at all it won. I'm really not.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like you say, it took a lot of time, but honestly, it should not have taken this much time. I've had a lot of issue while doing this project. And I'm just glad I finished it. I'd say, because I almost gave up at some point, So, yeah, I'm just glad I finished it.
So, and I'm sure there's not much you can say. Has anybody contacted you from Snyder, from Snyder's side of things, or from production, or anything like that?
No, not yet. I know it's a question that everyone's wondering. Even after the big news this week, like you mentioned earlier, and but I can tell you honestly, I have not received anything yet. I have not signed any NDA yet. Like I said to my last interviews, I only contacted that one person that I know from the TPZ, and he told me to send him my information so he can pass it on to Zack. And what follows after that is that Zack followed me shortly after that and confirming that, he got my information. And that was it. I have not received anything yet. I have not received the prize, the winning prize yet.
Let's say the winning prize was a film slate utilized for shooting Justice League, and it'll most likely be used or definitely is going to be used with
Yeah.
any reshoots that he's going to be doing for his cut. Now, I don't have the full picture here. What I have isn't a great picture, but it does state like scene something cool with Batman, Superman, Lois, or Martian Manhunter. And take however many it takes to get it awesome. Date to be determined. I mean, and not only that, but I believe on there somewhere it does state that the person who wins that is going to be the one who gets to use that, take it on set. You'll get to pass through all security, all the precautionary measures, get there, and you're going to be the one that gets to go the click with the slate. I mean, that's pretty cool.
That is super cool. Yeah, I've been very excited. Yes, like you said, the slate mentions that, and I've been thinking about it ever since I won. And I can't wait to tell you guys if I'm allowed to when it's going to be. And I just can't wait to be there on set. Just the fact that I'm getting access to the behind the scene and the shooting of the additional scene, all that, it's just going to be, it's going to be crazy, and I'm very excited, but, yeah, I'm wait.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're probably sick of talking about it, but, and I mean, to a certain point, I'm sure all the questions that you're getting are probably the same questions over and over again. But the one thing I do want to ask, and I do have to, I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask.
Right.
When this does happen, when everything happens, are you going to go, hey, Zack, hey, can I get in a scene? Can I get...
Well, I'm probably not going to ask him, but I have been working out. I have been preparing myself just because I don't want to look, bad in front of all the cast and Zack, but I don't know, even if he doesn't have plans to me to be in the background or anything, I'm just being prepared, I'm prepared, in case. I don't know if I should ask. I probably wouldn't go that far, just the fact that I'm on set is already great. But if he can cameo me or just put me in the background, like one of his picture that he posted, you see Lois and Zack is actually in the back in the story,
Yeah.
If I can do just something like that, I can just be on the phone behind a pole or something like that, I would be pleased,
Yeah, that would be amazing if that could happen. I mean, you've already won an amazing prize. The fact that you're going to get a piece of movie history, with the slate. Not only that, you're going to get to be on set. You're going to get Batman. Okay, so let's put aside the fact that there's a chance that Henry Cavill may not be able to make it back for reshoots, at least anytime soon. But the slate says that it's going to be a scene with Batman, Superman, Lois, or Martian Manhunter. So let's take a look at that real quick.
Right.
I'm going to be on set, most likely with Ben Affleck, possibly Henry Cavill, maybe Amy Adams. It's like you sit there and has that hit you? Have you put that in your head? And not only are they going to be there, they're going to be dressed up as their characters,
It's going to be surreal, they're going to be all dressed up as a character, and I'm going to be there with the slate, and I've been joking around with the guys today too, I on Twitter, I've been telling them, man, I hope I don't freeze, I hope I say the right words, hopefully I don't stumble, and trip, in front of the camera, things like that, but yeah, it's gonna be surreal, I cannot imagine how I'm gonna actually feel when that comes.
So what is your take on everything when it comes to the Snyder Cut? I mean, obviously you have to believe it's coming. I mean, you won this contest, it's coming. But what are your thoughts on it? I mean, as of yesterday, what is that? May 18th. As of yesterday, it seems like the contract negotiations or talks have started back up with Warner Brothers and Zack Snyder. And there's also talk and discussion that with the amount of footage that they have and the fact that they want to possibly put this on HBO Max, they could extend this and make this more than just a film. They could do multiple parts, make it a mini series or something like that. What are your thoughts on that? Are you all for that? Because I've talked to a lot of people who are like, no, it should be a movie, keep it a movie. And that's that.
Yeah.
While others are like, give it to us all. So what do you think?
Yeah. Good question. Me personally, I want it to be a movie because or if the contract is like they're allowing him to finish his movie arc, then that's even better for me. Now, if they want to make it as a mini series, uh, that's like maybe just 6 or 8 episodes just to do the whole story and nothing else. I'd be fine with that too, to be honest. Because we already come this far, and we wanted to see his real vision. So because the thing is like, it's like what if the contract is only for the 214 cut, and plus the additional scene that I might be doing going to see. And what if it's just that, and there's nothing else, after that, even with the whole 6 hours, assembly cut, and what if they only show the 214 minute of Zack Snyder's movie, if that's the case, then that's all we will have, we will never have an ending to his movie arc. So there's still hope in the sense that, if they, in the contract, they allow Zack to direct and get back with all the cast, to do a mini series in the form of like a Game of Thrones, but just like a short, like nothing like a 2 season, like a 1 season of 8 episodes, 8 episodes, but it really does everything. And if each episode is like an hour and a half or something like that, I'll be fine with it, to be honest, because at this point it will already be more than what we were hoping to just get the Snyder cut out, So I'm fine either way, but at the same time, I understand where people come from, where that passion is that they just want it as a movie and keep it as a movie, and that's fine, but it's like, it kind of reminded me of like the whole thing that happened yesterday kind of reminded me of a talk I had with a friend of mine. I don't know if you follow, but the whole Final Fantasy VII remake, the first, right. So I had a talk with him about with my friend about the Final Fantasy VII remake, and he basically was saying, and I agree with him. He was saying, I don't understand why people are getting angry about the whole episodic Final Fantasy VII remake. After it's been like almost 20 years, we're finally getting like a remake. We should just be happy about it, right? And in that sense, I agree with him, and I kind of feel that way with the Snyder Cut. We've been waiting for a while. We've been fighting for it. So if we can get the Snyder Cut plus the rest of his vision in a episodic, format, then why not? Why not? Why be angry? Because we're getting more at this point. So yeah, that's my whole take on that. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I understand the people who are afraid that it's Warner Brothers meddling with his vision yet again and trying to make it longer than it's supposed to be, but I don't think it's going to be like that. I think at this point in time, the management who's there at Warner Brothers in DC, they respect Snyder. They respect his vision. They know that the fans want to see what he wanted to do. And they'll let Snyder do the job and do the best job that he can. And if that means that he wants to shoot an additional 2 or 3 hours worth of footage or 4 hours worth of footage to finish off his entire arc of the movie, they're probably going to let him do it, or and they'll be able to make more money off of it. Because if they make it into a series for HBO Max, they could spread it across 5-6 weeks, which would then keep people on the service for at least 2 months. You know what I mean? So it's they'll be getting their $15 a month for 2 months, as opposed to somebody signing up for the free service for a week, and then I mean, that, like, financially that makes sense for Warner Brothers to do it that way. And no matter how they do it, I'm just going to be happy that we get it. I mean, at this point, it's just, when's it going to happen and how is it going to happen? Like, how are we going to get it? So I no matter what, I just can't wait to see it. I can't wait to finally get that vision that we all wanted 3 years ago. That story that we all wanted. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. Because I think the most important point that people they don't forget, but they just I think they kind of omit to mention is that as long as this time around they don't manipulate Zack Snyder's vision. That's the only thing. As long as they don't manipulate it, and we get to see what we knew we were supposed to get in 2017, then that's fine. That's the main point.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shifting gears here a little bit.
Mhm.
I know that you talked about a little bit earlier in this conversation about wanting to do comics and work for a big comic book company.
Mhm.
Is there a specific character or characters that you would love to work on if you got the chance to? If Marvel came to you and said, "Hey, we love your art. You get to pick. Do you want to do Spider-Man, Iron Man, Hulk, or anything like that? Or even with DC, like, is there any character that you would love to draw, essentially?"
Yeah, absolutely. So there is for sure. If I were to get an opportunity to work for DC, I'll do a Superman for sure. Superman has always been my favorite. He's my number one, comic superhero character, and I will definitely do a Superman because I have so much passion for Superman, and I feel like people always misunderstand him, and even with the newer Superman storyline that comes out, I feel like people always find ways to say why Superman is not cool or he's not as good as others, or like he's not human enough, or things like that,
Mm-hmm.
And I never agree with people when they say things like that. So if I get the chance to work on a Superman story, I will make sure that people see all sides of Superman, just like the way Zack Snyder shows in his movie, in Man of Steel. You see a side of Superman that nobody ever seen before, and that people like. To me, he's always been relatable, but people always say I can't relate to him, and I don't understand that. So I want to make sure that people can see that relatable side, Superman. So for sure, Superman would be the one for DC. And Marvel, if I ever get a chance to work for Marvel, I will do a Spider-Man, but I'm very bad at drawing Spider-Man. For some reason, I don't know why Spider-Man has always been a little weird to me. I can't draw him, it's so hard. But Spider-Man would be it, and also a Magneto, because Magneto is my favorite Marvel character of all time, and I would love to do him.
That's interesting that you say Magneto. I mean, yeah, I sit there and I see what they've done with the X-Men movies with Magneto, and to me, I'm so Magnetoed out. Like, they've done so much with him in the movies, and now I'm not going to sit here and say I'm a huge Marvel Comics fan, because for some odd reason I've always kind of drifted more towards DC Comics than Marvel.
Right.
I've never been able to connect with the Marvel comics, but I've read them. I've read X-Men, I've read Spider-Man and stuff like that. And I mean, to me, you're not the first person I've heard who loves Magneto, and I don't know if it's because of the movies that I'm just like, I'm Magnetoed out. I don't really care about him in the comics or what. Right. But there's just something. I mean, it's really interesting. Like I said, you're not the first person I've heard say that about Magneto, and it's weird because you don't hear that often.
No, I totally understand. Personally, I like some of the X-Men movie, but I kind of feel like you. I kind of feel like a little Magnetoed out, or even Wolverine out. Like, I love Logan, and I love Hugh Jackman. He's the best Wolverine we ever had. The only one so far.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with Magneto, is the reason why I want to do a Magneto if I get the chance is because they haven't represented his willpower, how much he can actually do in the movie compared to in the comic book. Also, my second favorite is Cyclops, because I'm a huge X-Men fan, before Avenger. Personally, I think X-Men will take on Avengers, but Cyclops, even for Cyclops, for example, ever since the very first movie, Cyclops has been so misrepresented. He's so much better than that. He's so much better.
Agreed, 100%. Not gonna lie, the actor they got in the first two X-Men, James Marsden, was fantastic for the role. Yeah. Like, I would love to have seen, but they just didn't develop him enough. They didn't dive into it. And I would love to see Cyclops as well.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of what I want to do. But yeah, that's the reason why.
Now, do you have anything going on? Like, have you started dabbling in the comic type of art at all? Like, do you have a writer that you're working with? Is there anything small that you're doing in that regard?
Oh, no, not yet. I have made some good friends and connection they're professional comic artists that work for Marvel, Image Comic, Dark Horse, and DC, and they've been great mentors to me. But I haven't really got started with them as far as training for storytelling, paneling, things like that yet, because I've been so busy doing my own thing with a convention schedule and things like that, But they've been very supportive, and they really want to help me get my story started. Because since I started as an artist, I changed my goal to not take on a superhero that's already there. I wanted to go ahead and create my own superhero, because what basically my friend told me, they're like, right now it's a great time for artists like me to just come with my own IP, my own character, and put it out there to an Image Comic, try to see if they will help me print it and things like that, because there's no better time right now, and I've always had a story in my mind that I've told them about, and they told me, yeah, you should definitely get it started, and I just haven't got the chance to get started on it, because I have to learn how to write a story, making dialogue, and I have so much to learn from my friends, so,
yeah. So you're looking to kind of write your own, like you're not working with any writers or anything.
Correct.
Okay,
No.
So you want to do everything. Gotcha. I'll tell you what, I'm somebody sitting here, I love to write. I love writing things, and I have so many different story ideas in my mind, and I've been wanting to write a graphic novel. Artistically, I'm not great. I was an art student in high school. I was in every art class that I could have possibly taken. My only problem is I can't write from my head or draw from my head. Everything I draw, I have to be looking at something, and I can draw it, but I can't just I want to draw this and be able to draw it.
Right.
But writing wise, I really enjoy writing, and that is so difficult, and to write for a comic, because the flow is so much different than if you're trying to write like a novel or even a screenplay for a movie. The flow is so much different when it comes to the comic form. And then you have to also remember, if you're not the artist as well, you then have to work with an artist to make sure that they're conveying what you're trying to say and understanding what you're trying to put on the page as well. So I completely get how difficult it is. And the fact that you're such a good artist, diving in and doing your own thing is going to be a huge help for you, because you're going to be able to all right, you have a vision in your head, what you want to put on the paper as well as what you're writing. And that's fantastic. And I hope that you get there. I really do, because you have some amazing, amazing work that you've done already. The only concern that I have for you and really anybody right now is what's going on with this pandemic, because comic book stores are shut down, and the publishers, they're not making money, and that's kind of what's going to hurt people like you who are trying to get into the industry, or trying to break in and make a name for yourself. They might be a little hesitant and less willing to bring on unknown people to say, hey, let's see what you can do for quite some time. They're going to have to recoup a lot of the losses that they've had for the past few months. So I think if you stick to it, if you just keep pushing forward and do your own thing for a while, I know without a doubt, just seeing how good you are at what you've been doing to this point, I have no doubt that in the future you're going to see yourself doing one of those comics that you would love to do. I do. I think you'll get there.
Thank you. I really hope so. And you touched up some really, really good point, and you're totally right. It's so hard right now. It has hit the comic industry so hard, man. It's crazy. And that's why, artists like Jimmy, they're doing this whole, Bing Foundation, to help comic book store and things like that, And so, yeah, we nobody knows what's going to happen to the comic book, businesses once everything recovers a little bit, but it's getting really hard, and also what you said about your passion for writing, you enjoy that, but drawing is different. To me, it's the same thing, I can draw, but I cannot write, anything at all, if I were to tell you the story of my characters, I will sound just like the way I'm talking to you. It's not appealing, it doesn't get you to like the story, right?
Yeah.
So So I need to learn all that in order for me to be able to work with a writer and understand, how I need to adjust. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been excellent talking to you. I mean, we're creeping up on the hour mark here, and
oh wow, really? Oh wow.
Yeah, I know. It's just time just kind of flies whenever you're having a good time.
yeah, I am.
It's been great talking to you, and again, thank you for coming on the show because, again, my whole thing with this show is just kind of getting people to know people who do some great things when it comes to all sorts of geek, and nerd type of stuff. And your art is fantastic. I'm going to promote the crap out of your artwork. Trust me.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to get it out there for you and help you. And, congratulations on the poster contest and winning that. That is such an amazing thing. And I can't wait to hear your experience once you finally get to do all that, because I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, we'll set up another interview as soon as all that happened, for sure.
Absolutely perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Now, for people who are out there, what's the best way to find you? I know you've talked about Vero and Twitter. Are those kind of the two best places to find you? Yeah,
actually, the best place would be currently Twitter and Instagram. Okay. And Instagram at Mighty Pegasus, Twitter and Mighty Pegasus 88. And also, like you said, Vero and Mighty Pegasus, just regular, So... Yeah, please come and, drop me a message, say hi, anything you want.
Yeah. One question I forgot to ask you, I'm sorry. What's the name of the Mighty Pegasus? Like what's behind the name Mighty Pegasus?
Oh, good question. So, Mighty, because I love anything godlike, like the might of Zeus and things like that, like powerful characters, I love anything like that, like Mewtwo. You see a lot of Mewtwo Mario characters. He's the most powerful Pokemon, in the world. So I like things like that, So I use Mighty, as a strong force, a strong word. Pegasus, because I'm a huge fan of Saint Seiya anime, also called The Knights of the Zodiac, also on Netflix right now if you're interested. And the main character is the Pegasus Knight, and I just love Pegasus, and I always wanted to use that. I use that all the time as my gamer tag also, on any video game. So when Mighty Pegasus and just art, that's it. Simple as that.
Amazing. Well, hey, simple enough.
Yeah.
And there's always a reason for a name, and that's
right.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. I mean, it's been great, and I look forward to talking with you further. Everyone, just follow him on social media. You'll get to see a lot of his artwork on Instagram and Twitter and everything like that. You're really active on Twitter. I've noticed that. So
yeah, especially lately. Yeah, it's been crazy.
Yeah. So thanks again, and I look forward to talking to you later.
Thank you. Thank you again. You have a good one. All right.
You too. There it is, guys. That there is my conversation with Victor Koo, Mr. Mighty Pegasus himself. I really, really do hope I get to have him on the show again. I'm thinking I might try and get him on a little bit sooner because so much information has come out about Zack Snyder's Justice League in the past few weeks since I last talked to him, or since we did this discussion here, that I want to get his thoughts on that. Not only that, but I am going to do everything I can if he does have a chance and gets a chance to go and be on set for Zack Snyder's Justice League additional scenes that he's going to shoot. I'm going to try and get him back to talk about that stuff. I'm sure he'll be under some kind of non-disclosure agreement, but once that's lifted, I absolutely would love to have him back on the show. So Victor, again, thank you so much for being on the show this week. Everybody, go check out his stuff. All his information will be down in the links. You just follow those links. You can see all his art and support him. He is very, very active on Twitter, so jump on Twitter, start talking to him, because he is a great guy. It's a good discussion. You can have a really good discussion with him. Thank you for being there. Now, if you want more from Bridging the Geekdoms, just head over to Spoilerverse.com. Spoilerverse.com is where you're going to find everything Bridging the Geekdoms, all of our episodes, our old episodes, our new episodes. You're also going to find other podcasts, such as Polygon Warriors. That's Colton's little video game podcast. Pretty epic, if you ask me. There, you also find Shooting the Sith, which is my Star Wars podcast. I really got to get back into doing that, but man, life has just been so hectic. and I've really put a lot of focus on Bridging the Geekdoms, but we're going to try and figure something out for Shooting the Sith to make sure that we get quality Star Wars content out to you as much as possible. Also, Spoiler Country. None of this would be possible without Spoiler Country. Spoiler Country is an amazing, amazing podcast where John Horsley, Kenrick Regan, Casey Allen, and Jeff Haas, they all sit down. They sit down and have interviews and discussions with some of the greatest creators in the comic book, movie, and television world. It is an awesome podcast. I highly, highly recommend everybody sitting down and checking them out. I actually got to do an interview myself for them not too long ago, and I'm hoping it gets released soon because it was a good time. It was a really good time. With all that said, if you want, jump over to your favorite podcatcher apps. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, whatever, Stitcher. Find Bridging the Geekdoms. Just type it in. Hit that follow button, subscribe button. Make sure you get all the latest episodes from Bridging the Geekdoms. I don't know, guys. That was a great show. I really, really enjoyed talking to Victor Koo. I really have been loving what we're doing here at Bridging the Geekdoms lately. Some big things are coming up. I got another great conversation coming up within the next week or two with a cosplayer. She is an amazing, amazing cosplayer, so I can't wait to get that episode out. We're also going to continue doing some news episodes. Colton, once our schedules get lined up again, since everything's starting to open back up and work's starting, we got to finagle our way through and find what's going to work best for us to get together and discuss things. But once we do, I can assure you, he and I will be back on the podcast. But until then, I'm going to continue putting out content. I'm going to interview people. I'm going to talk to people who embody what Bridging the Geekdoms is about. So, with all that said, thank you for listening, everyone. Again, Victor Koo, thank you for being on. And everybody, I will talk at you next week.